Check 1-2, radio check. Still. Run the bomb through the corner, lane up through the trial zone. Check up, Not sure why we did that, I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody to get to the bottom. Maybe we should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down. Split up right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs are wide way. It's Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland and Garland leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done.
Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the freight. Louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here this evening with the Outcast Racing League live from the beautiful Daytona International Speedway, as we are not on the super speedway portion of the racing action here tonight. We are on the road course here this evening. So get ready, as we got 45 laps of racing action here tonight. 45 laps to duke it out, to go to battle and to see who can put themselves up and into victory lane here in this one. Huge shout out to all of our amazing sponsors here on the Outcast Racing League, as here tonight it is the Land N Sea NSB 300 here from Daytona. As all these drivers, they hop out onto the racetrack, they're looking to lay down quick times here, trying to set themselves up nicely for our feature event, as there will be no caution flags. You want to get a good starting spot. You want to be up towards the front, try to keep yourself out of trouble, and that's going to be the main thing right there. Keeping yourself out of problems, keeping yourself out of trouble out there on the racetrack to try and put yourself up and into what could be a winning situation later in the night, as there will be no caution flags. It's just localized yellows. There are no stage breaks. It's 45 laps of straight up hard-nosed racing action for each and every one of these drivers to try and put themselves up and into victory lane here tonight. And for some of our road course ringers, that is definitely going to be a good sound for them, because they're going to be looking to try and put themselves into those winning situations. As of right now, Cameron Combs, quick time here in qualifying. Caleb McKinney, Chris Muse, our top three, with Adolfo Castillo and Al Reed rounding out our top five. Rob Tuiscu, Billy Jordan, Grant Humphrey, Mike Killingbeck, and Corey Growell right now our top 10 here in the standings. We still see Edward Belair out there. See if Belair can get a good lap in. Here's the 25 ride, trying to get a lap completed just before this qualifying session comes to a close. We got about a minute left, so for any of the drivers that unfortunately haven't gotten a lap time in, it looks like they'll be starting at the back of the pack no matter what here this evening. So for Anthony Garland, James Garland, Devin Black, Nicholas Barton, and Gary Wright, looks like they will be going to the rear of the field here for the starting grid this evening, as the 25 ride doesn't want to join them. He's got to get a good clean lap in right here. As long as he can do that, he can start inside the top 18. We'll see where he slides into, though, as down and across the line. We'll take a look. iRacing is going to update it here. Not sure if that is going to get him a lap or not. May have made a mistake out there. Doesn't look like it registered a time there. So unfortunately, looks like he did run into an issue. Must have made contact with a wall somewhere. And for the 25 ride, he will have a null and void lap time. And unfortunately for the 25 machine, he will not be qualifying here this evening. So he'll be stuck back outside the top 17. He'll have to go by his iRating, and I do believe that should line him up somewhere around the 19th, 20th position for the start of this feature event, as Cameron Combs with the quick time, though, only need one lap, laid down a one quick one, and that's all he needed, as he'll start in the pole position here this evening. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys are just tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, as we'll get ready to set these drivers loose. We'll get ready to duke it out here this evening. Man, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be some great racing action. We're going to have a great time here this evening. A lot of fast-paced action here at Daytona International Speedway Road Course. So if you guys are just tuning in, make sure you guys do us a favor. Smash that thumbs up button on the stream for us right now. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today, as we'll get ready to play as the number 15 of Cameron Combs. He does have that pole position. The Rockstar Elite Sim Racing number 15 ride will start in the pole position. To his outside will be the 76 of Caleb McKinney. We're waiting for him to load into the sim, as everyone else getting into the action here, getting ready to rumble this evening. There we go. There's Caleb. Caleb will start back in position number 2 here this evening. Chris Muse, we gotta wait for Muse. There he is. Looks like he's got that Monster Energy ride loaded into the sim, and Muse will start in that third spot. To his outside will be the 31 of Mr. Adolfo Castillo. Castillo there in that beautiful Quantum Motorsports ride. He'll start back in position number 4. Al Reed in his Land N Sea NSB RT3 Designs Elite Sim Racing number 3 machine will start there in 5th. To the outside, his teammate in the Elite Sim Racing RT3 Designs ride, that is Rob Tuiscu, who will start there in that 6th position. Starting back in 7th, beautiful looking ride here, man. We love the, I don't even know what that is. It's like a creepy clown smiley face. I don't know what's going on here, but it's definitely pretty cool looking as the ISR Performance number 14 of Billy Jordan will start in 7th. To his outside in the Must Love Poodles number 48, that is Grant Humphrey. Starting back in the 8th position in the for the 48 ride, then we see Mike Killing back in his Lawrence Tech University number 70 ride, starting there in 9th. To his outside in the Mars Ford Mustang, the 2 rider Corey Crowell will start in position number 10 here this evening. Starting back in 11th, it is the Land N Sea machine, the Land N Sea NSB Quantum Motorsports 02 ride. Chad Lancaster will start in 11th. The Dark Horse Motorsports number 84, Wayne Garland, will start there in 12th. To his outside as the Peacemaker Gaming machine will look to try to work his way closer to the front of the field as we see the 49 of Kurt Sponsler in the NOS Energy Elite Sim Racing number 49 ride, starting there in 14th. Luke Wagner in the Poor Boy Motorsports Peacemaker Gaming number 8 ride will start there in 14th. Starting back in the 15th position, it's the Quantum Motorsports Shenko number 60 ride. That is Johnny Thunders. To his outside in the Poor Boy Motorsports Outcast Racing League number 81. That is Anthony Garland, starting there in 16th. Starting back in 17th, that is Nicholas Barton in the Pennzoil Chevy Camaro, the 22 ride. That is Nicholas Barton. To his outside in the MMG number 25. That is Edward Belair, starting there in 18th. As here we go, ending all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here at Daytona. As the 15 ride of Cameron Combs gets a good launch, they battle down into quarter number 1, door to door, down and through that first quarter. They head into this little bit of a second turn and third turn right there through the S's there. They're able to get a little bit more single files. You want to be almost single file heading down here into what is corner number 4, I do believe 3 or 4. I'm not sure how they score that, but nonetheless, it is Cameron Combs out in front. Great lead there for that number 15 ride as everyone else in tow trying to hunt him down. You see Al Reed, Rob Tuiscu, the top 10 kind of now. Everyone's kind of getting a little bit more single file, and that's exactly what you want to see, as we did see Wayne Garland in the 84 ride early on run into some issues. Let's take a look here. So Wayne Garland down into corner number 4. He looks underneath the 2 ride. They get tight, 3 wide racing, and then as he's getting back onto the throttle, he's on that rumble strip. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of grip right there. And for that Dark Horse Motorsports Toyota Camry, he goes for a loop-de-loop right there. Luckily enough, able to get it rolling once again and able to keep that thing pointed in the right direction. As out in front, it's Cameron Combs, who's got the race lead and looking to run away is Dustin Curley. How are you, Dustin? Dustin coming in says, "What's good, Peacemaker?" What's good, Dustin? How are you, brother? How are you doing this evening? Hopefully you are having yourself a wonderful Sunday, and hopefully things are looking good here over on YouTube. So for the last little while, we've been kind of limited to what we can do for our quality of broadcast. Doing the multi-streams over on Facebook and Twitch at the same time as YouTube. They all run a different amount of bit rate, and unfortunately, there we go. We see the 31. Adolfo Castillo goes around. Castillo pointed the wrong direction. The chicane is going to be a problem area for a lot of these drivers. See, Corey Crowell also pointed the wrong direction. These drivers are going to have to try to get pointed back in the right way. As the 2 ride sees pretty much everybody go around him here. Unfortunately for Corey Crowell, now back into the 19th position. Adolfo Castillo, who was up inside the top 3, slides all the way back now into about the 15th position. Yeah, as we were talking about, the bit rate. So bit rate is virtually the amount that your stream is uploaded, the data that is uploaded to the servers. Facebook really throttled it back. They do not care about live streams. They only care about short form content, so they've been really lacking there when it comes to the quality that you can pump out as a broadcaster over on Facebook. And even Twitch, to a certain extent, it's kind of a little bit better, but not much. So we have to turn our bit rate way down, where here on YouTube we can pump it up a ton here on YouTube. We got the internet, we got the equipment, we got everything that we can use to our advantage to put together some really high quality racing action. But doing the multi-stream, it just has not allowed us to do that. It has not allowed us to really focus and get good use of the multi-stream or of the higher bit rate here through Streamlabs and over on YouTube. So now we kind of made the step. Facebook has toned it down even more. They're getting rid of a lot of monetization things. They're getting rid of all their partner support. They're getting rid of everything that's really to Facebook gaming over there on the FB stream. So they've just been continuously going farther and farther downhill. So we decided, you know, we want better high quality broadcasts. So we're here over on YouTube. We're going to see how that looks. We're going to see if Twitch, I think Twitch can only go to about 9K as a maximum over there. So that's 9 megabytes per second for upload over on Twitch as well. Where here on YouTube, man, we run almost 50 megabytes per second for upload speed with my internet, so we can really bump up these broadcasts even higher than what it is right now. It's only at about 12 megabytes per second, where our bit rate is currently set at, where we could probably bump it up to 15, maybe even 16, 17, start to get into more of that 4K area of being able to put on these broadcasts and really allow you guys to get the highest quality, the best quality of these races, and really get to enjoy some more and more of these cars out there on the speedway. Now, I'm not too sure on what it will look like if I hit the record button. We're not going to do that quite yet. We could try it, but I don't know if it's going to crash the stream or not, so I don't really want to try that yet. I probably should try that during the test stream. We may do another test stream to make sure things are perfect here as see all these drivers continue to battle. And you guys got to give us a heads up as well in the comment section. Let us know, you know, what the quality looks like. If it's looking really nice, you got to let us know if the audio is good as well, whether or not the cars are too loud compared to my voice, or if my voice is overpowering compared to the cars. Let us know, so that way we can get things dialed in, make sure things work absolutely perfect here for everybody to enjoy, you know, the sights and sounds and the awesomeness that these broadcasts really can produce. We did see the 76 of Caleb McKinney. McKinney was able to work his way around Cameron Combs, and for McKinney, that is a great break early on, because he's now starting to open up a bit of a lead. Last time around, he was about a second and a half quicker than Cameron Combs, and that has really opened up a big window here for him. Over 2 seconds now between himself and our second place driver, as Cameron back in position number 2. Al Reed there in third, with Rob Tuwiscu in position number 4. Chris Muse rounds out our top 5 in that Monster Energy number 99, right? So he'll look to find a little extra speed here in the 99, try to catch up and maybe drive himself a little closer to maybe a top 3 situation here in this race. But already, between Chris Muse sits in that 5th position. He's not too far away from Rob Tuwiscu. He's not really too necessarily far away from that 3 machine of Al Reed. But to our race leader, he's almost 9 seconds back. And that is a big gap there. We do see Tyler Humphrey out there. I got word that Humphrey was going to start and park here this evening, so I'm not sure if he's going to continue racing. He did get a few laps in, but he does have a black flag, so it looks like for the Must Love Poodles number 9 ride, he will have to head down pit road, as we've seen a slew of issues here for drivers. Let's take a look at the 7 of Devin Black. Looks like Black, I'm not sure if he's going to have an issue right there. Gets back onto the throttle, coming out of the infield. Unfortunately, the car is going to snap around on him. Edward Belair at the same time is going to have some problems here as well in that MMG number 25 ride. So this is heading down into that front straightaway chicane, and he just misses it. Misses that chicane. He's got to come to a stop here and get that car rolling again. And unfortunately, that's going to cost him at least a couple positions out there on the speedway. That is a heartbreaker there for him. Now we see Wayne Garland running into problems again as well, as he's trying to work his way around the 0-2. They make a little contact right there for the 84. We saw this exact same area on the opening lap. He got loose on the throttle. Unfortunately, again, gets loose, has to get checked up, goes through the grass a little bit, loses a few more spots, and slides back now into that 13th position as he looks to continue to try to march his way forward. We did see, unfortunately, let's take a look at Tyler Humphrey and his mistake here, as we see Humphrey ends up running into an issue. Take a look here at that must-love Poodles Camaro as he's going to send it into corner number 1. Gets in there a little too hot, has to dip out of it, and that's where we see the black flag come. So we virtually just cut half the racetrack right there. The entire infield portion he just absolutely skipped. Unfortunately, that's where he gets that black flag, has to make that pass-through penalty in the whole down pit row. That is a tough spot to have that, as we do see Casey Gross. Casey's going to run into problems here as well. No one is safe out there on the racetrack. Everyone is in the danger zone. Lap after lap after lap here at the Daytona Road Course. See him get loose on corner exit, has to get checked up, has to lock it down, and luckily not be able to keep it from going around right there. Anthony Garland himself in the 81 ride. He's right on the back bumper here at Chad Lancaster, trying to make a move up inside the top 10. Gets down to the inside here, down into this front straightaway chicane, and gets into the chicane a little bit too far right there. Gets airborne, goes for a slide. That's that one portion right there, and unfortunately does lose a couple positions. But since then, he has gained a lot of them back, and he has continued to try to battle his way up towards the front. Unfortunately, we do see a bunch of drivers potentially already out of this race are running into problems. We see Nicholas Barton down pit side. Heavy damage here for Barton. Let's take a look back and see what happens to the 22. And Barton, Casey Gross, Devin Black, all down pit road. Here's the 22. I'm not sure if he's already got the damage. Oh, no, there he goes around in the 77 of Casey Gross. Unfortunately, oh, man, this is just tough break. Both drivers missing this front straightaway chicane, and unfortunately for the 22, as he gets locked down trying to get checked up, he gets sideways for Casey Gross. He doesn't have enough time, gets into the fence, and then slides right in to the side of that 22 ride. Heavy front end damage for Casey Gross, heavy right front damage for the 22 ride, and for those drivers, that is a ton of damage that you do not want to have as they get rolled back out onto the racetrack. We do see Barton back out there, Casey still down pit side. It looks like for Gary Wright and Tyler Humphrey, I do believe for both of those drivers, they are not going to be competing for the rest of the night. So Tyler Humphrey does start and park after 3 laps of racing action. For Gary Wright, never jumped out there, but we did see some issues again for Wayne Garland. Let's take a look back here. Wayne actually runs into a couple issues here. See if there's another problem before this. Doesn't really look like it, but for the 84 ride, see if we can get a little bit of a look-see-poo here. See what happens to Wayne. So again, down, exiting the infield circuit here. Gets onto the throttle, gets into the conversion right there, and unfortunately going from the apron into the banking of Daytona International Speedway. 84 ride gets turned around, gets a little bit loose, and unfortunately now he's on the banking. Car's just going to go around again. Not a fun spot to be. Still trying to get this thing just rolling, trying to get it back in the right direction. He may have to try to get it down the racetrack onto the apron. It looks like he's able to get it rolling though, and luckily enough does get that thing pointed in the right way and keeps on battling here this evening. Unfortunately for Wayne, another big mistake, another issue for him, and that is going to cost him some more time out there on the speedway. Is out in front, it is still Caleb McKinney. McKinney still feeling pretty good, just about 3 seconds between himself and Cameron Combs. Al Reed about 7 seconds behind Combs here, so about 10 seconds back of our race leader for that Elite Sim Racing ZZX Digital number 3 machine, as he rolls back there in that 3rd spot on the speedway. His teammate Rob Tuiscu right there with him as the RT3 Designs Peacemaker Gaming Outcast Racing League number 6 machine. And Tuiscu rolls there in 4th. Then we see Chris Muse still rounding out our top 5, killing back even farther back here. So our top 5 separated by about 12.5 seconds as of right now. About 11 seconds back behind Chris Muse. So our 6th place driver to our 5th place driver is a gap of almost just over 11 seconds out there on the racetrack. Grant Humphrey right there, as well as Kurt Sponsler. A little farther back here, another big gap, almost 12 seconds between Humphrey and Kurt Sponsler as he rolls in the 8th position. Billy Jordan right there with him. Adolfo Castillo after his opening lap issues here for the 31 ride having a problem there through that front straightaway chicane for the 31. He's trying to bounce back. He's back inside the top 10. He rolls there in that 10th position. He's got Anthony Garland right there behind him. Chad Lancaster back in position number 12, as we do see some more problems here. Luke Wagner looked like he had went off the racetrack here. Edward Belair also going off the speedway. So let's take a look here. So there's Belair, and unfortunately for the 25 ride, I'm not sure if there's contact before this or it's the 8 ride trying to just keep himself pointed in the right direction. This is our race leader right behind them. So for Caleb McKinney, he's got to deal with some of this lap traffic, and he's able to get around the 8 ride, makes a little contact there with the 25. That's what gets Edward Belair down and off the speedway right there. And now you see the 8 ride trying to get checked up. He's trying to stay out of the way of Cameron Combs. Combs trying to get through there, and the 8 just gets shoved up the racetrack there and off the racetrack again. And now we see Cameron Combs ends up running into problems. So Cameron Combs not far after this ends up running into an issue himself. Let's take a look and see what happens right there. Loses the handle of the 15 ride, gets loose, goes around, has to get this thing pointed back in the right direction. Here comes Al Reed, there's Tuisku, here comes the 99 of Chris Muse. All three able to get around the 15, and for Cameron Combs, he goes from running in position number 2, now back into about the 5th position, 14 seconds back of our race leader. Now we see Cameron Combs. Combs going to run, or Corey Crowell. Oh, there's Combs again, running into another problem. Oh, man, just stockpiling here now. Mistake after mistake here for that 15 ride. This is really going to hurt his chances here this evening. Let's take a look at Corey Crowell. Crowell went off the racetrack here as well. Looks like through this little bit of a bend between corner number 4 and 5, I do believe, or they may even count that as corner 5, and unfortunately gets over the rumble strip, up and into the grass, loses the handle of it, has to get checked up down in the grass. Luckily enough, doesn't look like he loses any positions or any major spots there, and able to keep that car rolling, as Devin Black also running into issues here in the 7 rides. Let's take a look at this Scott Bloomquist inspired ride as the RT3 Designs and as Land N Sea NSB number 7 sends it into corner number 1 a little too far, and oh, that's a big hit right there for that 7 machine, and he's gonna have to tow that thing right down pit side. That may be all she wrote here for the 7 of Devin Black here this evening. That is a big hit, and that is going to take him down pit road for a very long time before that car is even back out there onto the racetrack, as the 2 of Corey Crowell scored back in about that 14th position. But right now it's all Caleb McKinney. McKinney just has to stay cool, calm, and collective here. He can run a little bit slower lap times. He doesn't really have to push the subject. He can just take a easy breezy and lemon squeezy here for pretty much the rest of this race, as we're already about to complete lap number 8 here this evening. There's still a lot of racing, still a lot of laps left to go, but for this 76 of Caleb McKinney, he's got almost an 11-second lead between himself and Al Reed. That is a big gap as we watch him exit the chicane right there on the front straightaway. He's about to head down across the start-finish line. Where's Al Reed? Reed is just about into that chicane. So that is the gap between first and second, but this is a dogfight back here for the 2nd position. He's got his teammate Rob Tuisku right there with him. Chris Muse not too far out of range here to try to jump up inside the top 3. And for Cameron Combs, after those compounding problems, unfortunately for the 15 of Cameron Combs, he is now back in that 5th position. He's about 7 seconds back of Chris Muse, 20 seconds back of our race leader Caleb McKinney, and that's going to be tough for him to try to rebound here this evening. So we'll have to keep a close eye on him, as we do see Nicholas Barton. Look out, Barton goes around right there. That's in front of our 2nd and 3rd place drivers out there on the racetrack. Luckily enough, they're able to get through him. Same with the number 37 ride, running into some issues there as well, as that was the 37. James Garland also running into problems. James does have a little bit of damage on this car, but nonetheless, he's in a battle here. If he can hunt down this 22 of Barton, he could potentially jump in front of this 22 and inside of the top 16 on the speedway. As well, right now, Wayne Garland sits as the last car on the lead lap here. Wayne is about 1.36 seconds, almost a minute and 37 seconds back of our race leader here, and it's still quite a bit of time here. Obviously, it takes about almost 2 minutes to complete a lap here at Daytona International Speedway at the road course. So he's got some time. He's got a bit of a gap. He can kind of sit back and just try to make sure he doesn't make any more mistakes. And as I say that, we see Wayne Garland end up running into another problem, and this may bring our race leader right to him. As here we go, we watch that Dark Horse Motorsports ride through that chicane, ends up getting a piece of it right there, loses the handle of the car, and the Dark Horse ride gets turned around, pointing the wrong direction. Luckily enough, able to get rolling quickly here, so he is going to give up a little bit more time to Caleb McKinney, but for the most part, still in front of this 76, still on the lead lap. Now the tough break is that there is no actual competition cautions, there's no stage breaks, there's nothing except for localized yellow. So if you run into a problem or multiple problems and you lose all that time, you go a lap down. The only way you can get it back is either through strategy or being able to find some speed and race your way back in front of the race leaders. And right now, it looks to be very, very tough. The only car that has ever been in front of Caleb McKinney here this evening was off the initial start with our pole sitter, Cameron Combs, able to lead a few laps, and then he ran into his problems after McKinney had already made the pass, taking the race lead away from that 15 ride. So for Cameron Combs, he's just trying to hang on to it now, and he continues to fall farther and farther back of the 76. And unfortunately for Cameron, he is now back into about the 5th position, about 23 seconds back of Caleb McKinney. McKinney's closest car on the racetrack to him that is battling for position is the 3 ride of Al Reed or the 6 of Tuisku, as here comes Tuisku making the move down to the inside. Rob's looking to make the move around Al Reed, and looks like he will jump up into position number 2. Reed will slide back into 3rd, as Chris Muse right there as well. Muse talked to me earlier this evening, said that he really hopes that maybe he can get a little bit lucky, maybe get another top 3 performance like he did last season at the Indianapolis Road Course, and see if he can just try to keep himself out of trouble, not make any mistakes. And so far, that strategy's worked out really, really well for him here. He's within striking distance, and he did definitely find himself back into battles. We did see Anthony Garland run into some more problems here. Let's take a look at the 81. So Anthony through the S's right here, and looks like as he's rolling down into corner number 4, gets in there a little too hot, locks up the front end, goes up into the grass right here, has to virtually come to a stop to get that thing rolling out there on the racetrack. And as he does, he loses the handle there a little bit, trying to catch it, trying to keep it pointing the right direction. Does a great job saving that race car. Unfortunately for Luke Wagner, it's not as lucky, as the 8 ride's going to run into some more problems here. This has been a big problem issue. This corner right here, just getting back onto the throttle after having to roll down to such a low speed. Drivers getting back onto the throttle, just losing the handle of them, and they shoot down the racetrack or up into the grass. And once you get into this grass, it's like driving on ice, and now he's going to go over a bunch of bumps down there. The infield is not perfect. It is not good, and now he's got the 14 of Billy Jordan right there on his back bumper as he's kicking up grass and dirt onto the racing surface. That is not going to bring out a yellow flag. iRacing will get that cleaned up, and we'll keep on battling as the 8 ride just trying to hang on to it now, as we do see a few drivers starting to head down pit road. So green flag pit stop starting to get underway as we see Cameron Combs, we saw Grant Humphrey, Adolfo Castillo, Billy Jordan, Sponsler, Anthony Garland all come down pit side. Now we did see Tuisku and company also make their way down pit road there on lap number 10. So on lap 10, we did see Tuisku, Al Reed, Cameron Combs all come down pit side. It did look like Chris Muse was going to stay up for a little bit longer, so didn't Caleb McKinney. As of right now, Chris Muse, this may be a good spot for Muse. He's got no one in front of him. He's got clean air. He's got clean racetrack. He can kind of just hit his marks, continue to pick up good speed, and try to find some extra grip out there on the racing surface. It could potentially work into his favor here, having some clean racetrack and not having Rob Tuisku and Al Reed right there in front of him. As now we do see our race leader, Caleb McKinney. McKinney makes his way down pit road as well. Now you cannot have a mistake, especially if you're McKinney. You cannot get caught speeding down pit side. You cannot have a problem here on this pit stop where you give some of that time up. You allow these guys to get back into the fight, back into this race here this evening. As lap 11, he comes down pit road. We see Chris Muse now coming down pit side with them. The only driver I think that's still waiting to come down pit road, as we do see Wayne Garland down pit side. I believe it's Corey Crowell. Crowell the only driver yet to pit here. We'll see if he pits on lap number 11 this evening as McKinney able to get back onto the throttle, rolls out onto the racing surface here, and he'll be still our race leader for Chris Muse. He's exiting pit road right now as well. We'll have to wait and see where he comes out in adjacent to Tuwiscu and Al Reed. It looks like it's going to be a tight battle coming off of pit road here. Looks like potentially that clean air, that little bit of open racetrack is going to put the 99 rider Chris Muse up and into position number 2. So it works out perfectly here for that 99 ride. So Muse now up into second. Tuwiscu right there behind him in position number 3. Al Reed there in 4th, not too far away from their back bumper. You see Cameron Combs, he's trying to close that gap as Caleb McKinney did give up quite a bit of time there on that pit stop. He gave up a few seconds there to Muse and to Tuwiscu. He did give up about 5 seconds to Cameron Combs. Combs was able to get down pit road in a quick hurry and gain quite a bit of time, so he's going to need to continue to do that and then find some great speed out of that 15 to try and get himself back into this battle. As here we go, we do see the 2 ride of Corey Crowell does make his way down pit side now as well. We do see James Garland also down pit road. Looks like he has gotten some big damage here on the 37 ride. Let's take a look and see what happens to James Garland, as it looks like he's got the damage repair clock as he heads into the front straightaway chicane, loses the handle of it. He's already got some front end damage, so I'm not sure if he had gotten that damage prior to heading down pit side, and now just trying to get that car fixed up and back into the action, as here he is still sitting down on the apron waiting for everyone to go by him, and unfortunately looks like he may be down pit road for an extended period of time. And for a driver stuck back in the 7th or 20th position, it's not a fun spot to be, as here he comes down pit side. So that's a tough spot there for James Garland. Didn't look like Devin Black, our opening race winner here, our first race of the season. We saw Devin Black here at Daytona find victory lane and park the 7 ride up and into the top spot, but here tonight, not as lucky. Looks like for him, he's called it quits. He will come home in 21st. Tyler Humphrey back in 22nd, and Gary Wright back in 23rd, as 3 drivers, unfortunately, down and out in this race as Caleb McKinney hangs on to the race lead. McKinney out in front, and now we see some problems. Chris Muse up and into the grass. So Muse blows it through. Oh, man, that's a tough break right there. Through corner number 4, gets in there a little too far. And for this number 99 ride, it was a tight battle here. Him and that 6 ride, it looked like quickly Tuwiscu was able to catch up to him. Takes a look down to the inside. Muse tries to go to the outside, locks it up, though. Gets in a little too far, a little too hot, trying to keep the 6 back there at bay. Goes for a slide through the grass. That allows, obviously, the 6 and the 3 ride all to get around him. So all that track position that he had gained down pit road and leapfrogging those 2, putting himself up and into second. He gives it right back and now finds himself in position number 4, and Cameron Combs right there with him. Combs, man, he's been looking good. He's been running some strong laps, and for Cameron Combs, he's been reeling these guys in. He's been getting closer and closer here now to Chris Muse, who's right there within striking distance. Same with Al Reed. A little farther forward, you do see Rob Tuwiscu, but for our race leader, Caleb McKinney, almost 15 seconds between himself and our second place driver. So this one right now at this point, about to be 13 laps completed out of 45. For this number 76 machine, he is feeling very, very good. He knows that this race is virtually his to lose. All he's got to do is just keep himself out of trouble, keep this car pointing in the right direction, and he should be able to bring it home here in victory lane this evening. But all it takes is that one lap, that one corner of just losing focus, losing your clarity out there on the speedway, where you make a mistake like we saw with Muse or any of these other drivers. You miss that front straightaway chicane or the back straightaway chicane, you get a black flag, you got to come down pit road, make a pass-through penalty, or have to stop on the speedway and give up that 5-10 seconds for missing the chicane, or going for a spin and going for a loop-de-loop. Even if you don't get any damage, it could virtually bring all these drivers right back to your rear bumper, and that could put you into more of a high-stress situation, where right now he's got no stress. He's got no one to his back bumper. He's got 15 seconds. He can give up some time. He can kind of play around. He can kind of make some different changes and try to find some more speed out there on the racetrack to extend that lead. But for right now, he's just sitting pretty with Tuisku in second. Al Reed back here in third. We do see Chris Muse still trying to hang on to position number 4 as Cameron Combs back here in that 5th position. Combs is actually kind of fallen back here a ton to the couple of these guys, man. He's actually fallen quite a ways back. Let's take a look here. I'm not sure if he ran into some issues. Looks like he did run into a problem. So we were watching this as we were going through our top 5. He's trying to catch up to this 99 rider, Chris Muse. He gets in there too far, locks up the tires, goes for a slide down through that back straightaway chicane, and all of a sudden, all that time that he had gained, he was right there on the back end of the 99, trying to race his way back through the top 5 here, trying to hunt down our race leader, and then all of a sudden, that problem is going to really hurt his chances. And then we see Luke Wagner running into more problems here as well, down into corner number 1. Just carries too much speed in here, doesn't get it locked down quick enough, and unfortunately, with that extra speed, just shoots it up the racetrack into the grass. Now he's got to try to keep a hand on it, but look at this thing, man. He's taking the off-road course here this evening. We've seen this car almost more airborne than we have seen him on all 4 tires, and then goes back around again. Dirty tires right there. Obviously loses the handle of that car, gets into the pit exit wall. Luckily enough, doesn't look like too much damage. Able to keep it rolling, able to get it back, pointing in the right direction. Then we do see the Land N Sea NSB number 02 ride. Oh man, this is a tough break right here for Chad Lancaster. Lancaster going to run into some problems here himself. Slow down into corner number 3 and 4 here, and all of a sudden, there we go, just back onto the throttle, loses that rear end, goes for a loop-de-loop, will lose at least 1 position as Corey Crowell will get around him there, and we'll keep on battling. No caution flags. We keep it clean and green. There's no end in sight here this evening, as all these drivers will have to try and keep themselves in the battle, in the hunt, at the front here, lap after lap after lap, as Caleb McKinney continues to lead the way. Now looking to put the 0-2 with Chad Lancaster a lap down. Lancaster sits right now in that 13th position. He is now the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack, and that means that there's only 12 cars left on the lead lap, and the 2 rider Corey Crowell not too far away from going a lap down here himself. And for all these drivers, their main goal, I think for a lot of them, is to just try to complete this race, not have too many issues, and try to stay on the lead lap. I think that's a big goal for a lot of these drivers, and right now it's going to be proven very, very tough for a lot of these guys. This 76 is just laying down absolutely unreal lap times here, lap after lap after lap, just putting together some great performances here. Him and Tuisku. Tuisku's found some really good speed after the 6th ride. He rolls in that 2nd position. He's pulled away from his teammate Al Reed by almost 5 seconds. Chris Muse a couple seconds back behind him, and now we see Muse make a mistake. He goes through that front straightaway chicane. We'll have to wait and see here. It looks like he's going to have to roll off the throttle for quite a little while here. I'm not sure if iRacing will give him a penalty marker for that one or not, if he'll have to get to a stop here in a quick hurry before he does get a full black flag, as here comes Cameron Combs. This may be the opportunity for Combs to work his way back into that 4th position, as there we go. Okay, so Muse off the throttle enough that the yellow flag has been taken off of the 99 ride. And that will keep us battling here this evening, but it does reel that number 15 right to his back bumper here. So for Muse, trying to hang on to a top 4 performance here, we'll have to try to keep that 15 right back there at bay, as we do see more drivers running into issues. Edward Belair going to run into some more problems here. The 25 right already has some pretty solid damage here on the right front, and it looks like the conversion coming back onto the racing surface. He's back onto the throttle. Just going to lose the rear end, goes for a slide, has to get it locked down before running into anything else, and luckily enough, able to keep it rolling. Now, we did see Wayne Garland also run into some problems as well. Wow, my gosh, the 25 right getting back onto the racing surface right there. That was a close one. Let's take a look here at Wayne Garland. So Wayne sends it down into corner number 1. Looks like he's just going to get in here too far, and unfortunately for that number 84, trying to get it locked up, trying to get it slowed down. Goes for a quick little loop-de-loop, makes some contact there into the concrete barrier. Then he's going to clip the 48 ride. Grant Humphrey, just nowhere for Humphrey to go. Ends up getting tagged right there as he was trying to get around that spun out 84 right away. Garlanded for Grant Humphrey. That does lose him a position here as Mike Killingbank was able to get around him. It also allows Adolfo Castillo to get away from him as Castillo, one of these drivers, man, that started off really, really good. He was up inside the top 3 before running into an issue on the front straightaway chicane. Went around, had to come to a stop, had to wait for virtually the entire field to get around him before he got rolling again, and he's done a very good job here, just sticking with it, continuing the battle, continuing to not run into issues. And for that number 31, he now sits in about the 6th position. Now he is 24 seconds away from our top 5. There is a massive gap there. He's going to need those guys to run into some major issues, but if somehow or another they run into problems, he could try to work his way back inside the top 5 here tonight. As out in front, the 76 of Cale McKinney still hold about that 15-second lead. All he's going to do is manage that gap, not run into problems, not get turned around or running into some damage out there on the racetrack, as he has now put Corey Crowell a lap down. Corey back in the 12th position. So right now only 11 drivers left on the lead lap here this evening. Now we see Cameron Combs running into some more problems. He went off the racetrack there ever so slightly. Let's take a look here back at it as Cameron just trying to hang on to this race car. He's trying to find a way around Chris Muse, and he's really pushing this car to its limits. We've seen this a couple times right there off the speedway. Now Dirty Tires gets into this next corner a little too far. He's back off the racetrack. He's going to slide down through the grass. Now he's got to build up that speed momentum, and unfortunately for the 15 ride, that's going to allow the 99 of Chris Muse and Al Reed to once again run away from him here. So it's just those little mistakes that have really hurt the opportunities here for that 15 ride here today, as we do see Luke Wagner going to run into a slew of problems. Let's take a look here at the Extreme TV Poor Boy Motorsports number 8 ride. As Luke's definitely had a tough go here this evening. Scored back at about the 18th position. He's up high and loses the handle. Car goes around. This has been a real problem area for him back here on corner number 3 or 4, whichever corner this actually is. I do believe it's corner 3 out there on the speedway, and through the grass he's got the dirty tires and everything else when he's able to get it rolling again, and then shortly afterwards going to run into some more problems out there on the racetrack. It's, I do believe, for the 8 ride. He's just trying to keep this thing together, just trying to keep this car rolling, not have too many more problems. Unfortunately, it's just been a slew of issues for him, and he's going to try to get this thing just pointing in the right direction, trying to get some good clean laps in, trying to learn as much as he can, trying to prepare himself for future road course races. And right there, you see him send it in there too deep, too far. Unfortunately, can't get the car checked up, has to throw it into reverse. Luckily enough, no major damage there for him, able to keep that car rolling and gets back into the battle. But for the 8 ride of Luke Wagner, not the day that he was hoping for. I think there's a lot of drivers that expected a little bit more out of their performances here. Obviously, a lot of cats running into early issues, having those early problems, but for some of these guys, man, having some pretty strong runs. Caleb McKinney, we knew was going to be a threat here to win this race this evening, and for the 76, he's just been hooked up here right from the get-go. Was able to take the early race lead away from Cameron Combs. Once he got that race lead, he's just been running away for Cameron Combs. He's just been running into a slew of issues. Lap after lap after lap has been running into problems, and for the Rockstar Mobile 1, John Deere number 15 of Cameron Combs, he's still stuck back in that 5th position. Couple times he's caught up. He's been right there on the back end of Chris Muse and Al Reed, but every time he seems to get there, he runs into another problem, makes another mistake, has another issue, and ends up going for a crazy ride out there on the racetrack. And for Chris Muse, just holding strong, holding tough here this evening, sits there in that 4th position. We talked to him before the race. He wanted to be up inside the top 3 potentially here this evening. He knew he'd probably be at least a top 5 car. Right now, he's absolutely spot on with that, and he's not too far away from potentially stealing that 3rd place away from Al Reed, as Reed holds on to that 3rd position. But as these guys continue to battle, keep on rolling, it is Rob Tuwiscu who has pulled away from these guys. He's opened up a big gap between himself and our third place driver. So for Tuisku, he's about 9 seconds in front of Al Reed and Chris Muse. Cameron Combs and continues to pull away from those guys, and he's hanging tough here, running virtually almost identical lap times with our race leader, Caleb McKinney. McKinney out in front still leads by about 15 seconds between himself and Rob Tuisku, so he hasn't really lost any time, he hasn't really gained any time here on Tuisku, and that's going to build up a little bit of confidence here for that 6th ride. If he can try to decipher, maybe find a way to put himself into a position where late in this race he can make some moves, maybe down pit side, gain some of that time back, and maybe start to find even more speed, put that throttle down and try to catch up to the 76 ride. Give us a fight here for the race win later on. He's definitely the car that looks to be the one that could maybe get it done here in this one, as we do see Anthony Garland now running into some problems. Let's take a look back at Anthony here as the 81, still in the lead lap here this evening. He's trying to keep himself on the lead lap, but it looks like again down into corner number 3. He's going to just lose the rear end right here. Goes around, back on the throttle. Unfortunately, that's an area that's been an issue for a lot of drivers here this evening, and I do believe we may see the 22 of Barton run into problems making the pass around the 81 ride. Looks like shortly thereafter, he's going to run into some issues here himself, so we'll keep an eye on this 22 as Barton sends it into the next wave of corners here. He's trying to keep this thing pointing the right direction, gets back onto the throttle nicely. Looks like a great corners there for that 22, but then sends it in here a little too far, locks it up right there. He's trying to keep it pointed the right direction. He's got it down pat and looked really good right there. Not sure where the issue is. He's going to get up the track, allow the 81 to get around him. Where does Barton run into an issue here? So the 22 ride for those last few corners looked really, really strong out there on the racetrack. It must be down this back straightaway and into the chicane here that he must run into an issue. See what happens. Actually, it may have been a little bit farther down the line. Let's take a look and see where this happens. So for the 22, he's just trying to keep this thing rolling, trying to salvage as much as he can throughout the day, and it looks like, here we go, on the front straightaway chicanes, just locks it up, loses that rear end, goes for a slide, and he's going to get to a stop. He'll get rolling again, so not too bad there for our driver stuck back in that 17th position. Now we do see Billy Jordan. Looks like Billy has also run into a problem. Looks like he had made a mistake here on that front straightaway chicane, so let's watch the number 14 just gets in there too deep, can't make the corner there for that chicane, has to roll through it. Unfortunately, as he does, he's got to be off the throttle. He's got to give up a ton of time here to get back into it. And for Billy Jordan, that's a tough mistake there for himself. Looks like he has got the yellow flag off of him there, so he doesn't have to hold back any longer, can get back onto the throttle. For Anthony Garland, he's trying to keep himself on the lead lap. Unfortunately, our race leader, Caleb McKinney, not too far away from him, and if McKinney can put the 81 ride a lap down out there on the speedway, that will leave only 10 drivers still on the lead lap, as now we see Chris Muse run into problems. Our 4th place competitor, Chris Muse, going to run into an issue here himself. So he's right there. He's on the back bumper of this 3 ride of Al Reed. Not sure right there. Shifted up, he's on that dirty apron. Unfortunately for the 99, the car is going to go for a loop-de-loop. You see Cameron Combs able to get around him, and now Combs has already worked his way up and around the 3 right of Al Reed as well. So for Cameron Combs, he works his way finally around the 99 and that 3 machine of Al Reed and Mr. Chris Muse. And for Cameron Combs back up into that 3rd position, he'll be looking now to try and track down that number 6 of Tuisku, and obviously our race leader, Caleb McKinney, out there on the speedway. But for Cameron Combs, rolls there in position number 3 now on the speedway. Adolfo Castillo finds himself down pit side, so Adolfo heads down pit road here. He looks to be the first driver to kind of make this wave of green flag pit stops here once again. Everyone else looks like they're going to stay in out for at least another lap here. Seemed like drivers were trying to make it 10 laps there on that first run. A few drivers went to lap number 11. if they have to make 4 pit stops here during the green flag conditions, will that open up the opportunity for a driver to maybe stretch it out here through a couple of these runs, try to save a little extra fuel, and maybe put themselves into a position where they only have to make 3 pit stops on the day? That could be a big question mark. And for right now, the Overton 76 of Caleb McKinney, he's one of those drivers that I think could really try to stretch it here. If he can make it until about lap number 23, maybe lap 24 before coming down pit side, it really opens up the door for him to only have to make 1 more pit stop here in this race, where a lot of other drivers may still have to make 2 more green flag pit stops after this cycles through. So that could really open things up here a little bit more for Caleb McKinney, as right now he does have 22 seconds between himself and Rob Tuisku. As here comes Tuisku, lap 21. He heads down pit side, so he's making his second green flag pit stop. Here comes Cameron Combs, also down pit road. Al Reed's going to follow along, so he comes down pit side. Will we see Chris Muse make that as well? He's going to get a little bit of a hold here, so he's not going to come down pit side, but for the 99, he's going to get checked up after missing part of that back or front straightaway chicane right there. He'll jump back up into second, but he's going to extend his fuel here just a little bit. If they can make it to lap 22, they're going to have to probably make it. If they can only go 11 laps, they're still going to have to make another pit stop here at some point in time. So maybe just a short pit, come down, get a splash of gas, and go late in this race. I think that's probably the idea for a lot of these drivers, as someone coming down pit road on lap 21, they can make it 11 more laps like they just did. That would put them pitting around lap number 32 here this evening, where if Caleb McKinney and Chris Muse can roll for a few more laps, a couple more circuits here, potentially it opens up the door for them to be able to make it, their final pit stop somewhere around lap 33, lap 34 maybe, if they can push it a little farther, maybe even lap 35 if they're lucky, and then that should open up the door for them to be able to make it on 1 pit stop here, or 1 more pit stop after this cycles through here this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye here on our race leader as he heads down through the front straightaway chicane. We'll see if he makes that hard left-hand turn down pit side, and it looks like he will make that call. So he does hit pit road. You do see Anthony Garland right there behind him. He also comes down pit side. Billy Jordan also down pit road here. Billy still on the lead lap here, but for Anthony Garland, he does fall a lap down out there on the racetrack as our race leader was able to get around him. So Caleb McKinney down pit side. We got Chris Muse coming up here in just a little while longer. Let's see what Muse does. Does Muse try to extend it? Does he try to run another lap here and try to make it a little closer to maybe his strategy of making it to the end of this race? As here we go down the front straightaway chicane for that Monster Energy Ford Mustang as he heads down and through that chicane nice and easy, doesn't make a mistake, but here we go, he does head down pit side. So Muse is also going to come down pit road. So it really seems to be about 11 laps, the farthest that these drivers have ran a fuel run. No one's really went past that 11 lap marker, and that means even for Caleb McKinney, Chris Muse, they can pit again around lap number 33, which puts them 2 laps shy, I feel, on fuel at the end of this race. So they will have to make a late race pit stop, come down pit road, get some fuel, get rolling, get back into the action here, and hope that they don't give up any time here to the drivers back behind them as Rob Tuisku rolls there in second. Rob just continuing to run pretty nicely out here, but he does fall about 21 seconds back behind Caleb McKinney. So McKinney is 21 seconds in front of this number 6 machine. Cameron Combs, he's about 6 seconds back of Tuisku, so he was able to gain about 3 seconds on that wave of green flag pit stops there, reeling in that 6 right of Tuisku. So we'll see if he can close that gap a little bit more, try to jump back up into second here this evening as he has opened up about 5 seconds between himself and that ZZX Digital Land N Sea NSB number 3 ride as Al Reed sits back in position number 4. Chris Muse about 5 seconds behind Al Reed there in that 5th spot. He's in pretty good position right now. He's still got a lot of time to gain, to try to regain time and try to get back to Al Reed. But you do see Adolfo Castillo, this 31 ride, man, he's been rolling nicely. After that opening lap issue, he ran into a problem down the front straightaway. Chicane went around. He was running in the 3rd position, and for the 31 ride, he's rebounded nicely. He's gained a lot of track position and track time back here. So for the 31, he's been looking very, very strong here in this one. Let's take a look back and see what happens to Adolfo, as Adolfo is just trying to keep himself in this battle, in this race. And for the number 31, right here. Okay, so he's running in the 4th position, gets in there too far, doesn't want to run over the number 99 rider, Chris Muse. He goes around there, misses the chicane, and now he's pointing the wrong direction, and everyone else is trying to get around him here. He's able to get this thing kind of pointed back in the right direction, but with all these cars coming, unfortunately, he's going to lose even more positions. Went from running in that 4th spot on the speedway to falling all the way back outside the top 15 early in this race, but he's regained a lot of track position. He's now sitting in that 6th spot on the speedway, and he's only about 10-11 seconds back of Chris Muse to try to work his way back inside the top 5. So Adolfo's been running strong here this evening, but no one stronger than this 76 of Caleb McKinney, as McKinney continues to hold on to the race lead out in front, just running some perfect laps out there on the speedway. And right now there's only 10 drivers left on the lead lap here this evening, and Kurt Sponsler not too far away from potentially going a lap down here himself. So by the end of this race, we're only halfway through it, man, where we can see potentially maybe only 3 or 4, maybe 6 cars still left on the lead lap here this evening. It'll be interesting to see how many cars Caleb McKinney can continue to put a lap down out there on the racetrack, as Tuiscu rolls there in 2nd, Cameron Combs there in 3rd, Al Reed back in 4th, and Chris Muse our top 5. Adolfo Castillo back there in position number 6 with Grant Humphrey, Mike Killingbeck, Billy Jordan, and Kurt Sponsler rounding out our top 10 here on the speedway. Anthony Garland's back in 11th with Corey Crowell there in 12th. Chad Lancaster in his Land N Sea NSB 02 ride rolls there in the 13th position with Casey Gross there in 14th. Wayne Garland back in 15th. Johnny Thunders, Nicholas Barton, Edward Belair, Luke Wagner back in 19th. James Garland, who's down pit side, rounds out our top 20. Devin Black, Tyler Humphrey, and Gary Wright rounding out our 23 car field here this evening from the road course here at Daytona International Speedway. As our race leader, Caleb McKinney, had just completed lap number 24 here this evening for the Overton 76 ride. Just trying to keep his pace up, try to keep this pace up, continue to make his way through some lap traffic, not trying to get himself tied up in any issues, and just hitting his marks here. He's done a very good job at it all evening long. I don't think we've really seen this 76 ride run into a mistake here in this race, but there's still a lot of laps left to go here. Still a lot of opportunities for him to potentially run into an issue out there on the speedway. So if you are this number 76 ride, if you run into a problem, if you run into an issue, at least you get that buffer. You got that buffer zone between yourself and Tuiscu that you can feel fairly confident. You can feel pretty good about, if you have a mistake. But if that mistake is a major issue, if it's a major mistake, you go around, you just spin around quickly, you may lose 5-10 seconds. Not that big of a deal. You hang on to the race lead, you still have a gap, you're still able to keep on rolling out there on the racetrack. But if you miss your chicane, you have to make a potential pass-through penalty down pit side. You run into a problem where you get into, let's say, corner number 1 too far, you end up into a fence, you end up in making contact or something and getting damage onto the 76 ride, where now you're forced to come down pit road and get damage repaired, plus having that damage for a lap out there on the racetrack. That could be all that Tuiscu and Combs, Al Reed may use, that they may need to get back into this battle for the race win here this evening. So you just gotta be patient, you gotta hit your marks and not make any major issues out there on the speedway. Is now 25 laps completed, 20 laps left to go here in this feature event, and for Caleb McKinney, he's just looking strong here all night long, as Chris Muse trying to hunt down a bunch of these other drivers here, as he's got the 2 rider Corey Crowell right there behind him, as we're going to jump into our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Right now, we want you guys to crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Alrighty, give it up for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session out there on the speedway. These guys giving us the sights and sounds here at the beautiful Daytona International Speedway. As out in front, continuing to lead the way, it is Caleb McKinney, but we didn't see McKinney there during the crank it up. Get sideways, went around, and it looked like Cameron Combs was within striking distance of our race leader. Now McKinney still has to make another pit stop here this evening for Cameron Combs. He may have made his final pit stop of the day, but he does have a 13-lap run that he's going to have to complete here this evening. We haven't really seen drivers go past 11 laps, so he may still have to get a splash and gas. And for Caleb McKinney, this will be a 12-lap run right there for the 76 ride. Now he'll head down pit road and pitting here on lap number 34 for the 76 ride of Caleb McKinney. That should get him to the end of this race. He should probably not have to make another pit stop here this evening with not having to come back down pit road here today. That may be the big difference maker for him. No, there is tires going on in this ride. So he's putting some tires on. He's getting fuel into the 76 ride. For Cameron Combs, though, he is going to get in front of him. So Cameron Combs will leapfrog Caleb McKinney. Unfortunately, those mistakes, the longer time out there on the speedway, unfortunately gives up too much time here. He will now be back behind Cameron Combs and Rob Tuwiscu. Tuwiscu actually consumes the race lead here. He's got about 7 seconds between himself and Cameron Combs. Caleb McKinney is going to be back 15 seconds or better behind that 6 ride. So for Rob Tuwiscu, this may be headed into his direction, but he's going to be able to make it 14 laps. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it that far. He may have to make an additional pit stop here this evening, as we finally do see Chris Muse make his way down pit side. Now, I do believe for Muse, he should be good on fuel as well. Should not have to make another pit stop here this evening. So for Chris Muse and Caleb McKinney, they may be the only 2 drivers that may not have to make another pit stop here this evening. If they are good to go on fuel, if they do not have to make another pit stop here this evening, then they may be sitting in the catbird seat, especially for Caleb McKinney to try to win this race. For Rob Tuwiscu having to come down pit side, or Cameron Combs, that could definitely put them into a very, very difficult position here this evening. Yo, what's good, Logan Berriman? How are you, Logan? Logan says, Peacemaker, what's good, Home Skillet? What's good, Logan? How are you, brother? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day. And my boy Rodney Stewart in the chat as well says, what's up, Peacemaker? What's good, Rodney? How are you, mister? How you doing? Hopefully you're having yourself a very exciting Sunday here, as well as, man, some great racing action, some great battling out there on the speedway. And for right now is Rob Tuwiscu, who has this race lead, and he just wants to continue to stretch it out. If he's gonna make another pit stop, he's just gonna be on the throttle. He's gonna be clicking off these laps, try to carry as much speed as possible and try to build a lead enough that where if he has to come down pit road, get a splash of gas and go, that he can hang on to this race lead, try to keep Cameron Combs and Caleb McKinney back there at bay. Unfortunately for him, Caleb McKinney, if he doesn't have to make another pit stop, he's not going to be trying to save fuel. He's not going to be rolling off the throttle. He's going to be trying to run the best laps that he can run here to finish off this race. And with 3-lap better tires, he's going to be closing that gap on that 6 ride, and it's going to make things that much more difficult for that 6 machine here this evening. You do see Al Reed, looks like Reed going to make the earlier pit stop here. So he did come down pit road around lap number 30-31. Here he is coming back down pit side now on lap 35. He knows at this point he is good on fuel. He can come down pit road, get his splash of gas and go. He wants to do it now instead of doing it later late in this race. So he does come down pit side, gets that splash, and we do see Adolfo Castillo. He's on that same game plan. He hits his pit stall. The crew will get in there. They'll give him some gasoline, and he'll be ready to rock and roll once again. So here he comes, rolling back out onto the racetrack. So for some of these drivers trying to make those changes, trying to make those opportunity is that much better for them. And for Chris Muse, it does put him in front of Al Reed here by about 4 seconds, but Reed not too far away from him here. We'll have to wait and see if Al can close that gap, chase down that 99 rider. Chris Muse, and Muse probably does not have to come back down pit road. Muse should be good on fuel to the end of this race, so that could make things very, very tight between the two of them later on this evening. For the 6th ride of Rob Tuisku, we'll have to wait and see what Tuisku decides to do. Whether or not it's come down pit road early, try to stretch the fuel out. He's got still about 13 seconds between himself and Caleb McKinney, almost 9 seconds between himself and Cameron Combs. He's just got to make it 14 laps, and I'm not sure that's doable. Even if he saves and gives up all 13 seconds that he has between himself and that number 76 ride, I still don't think he'll save enough fuel that it'll be good to go here, as last time around, Caleb McKinney laid down not only his quickest lap of this race, but the quickest lap of this race. The only driver to run into the 1 minute and 54 second lap time. No one else has gotten anywhere even virtually close to running into that 1 minute and 54 seconds. The next best lap time out there on the racetrack between any of these drivers here this evening was Rob Tuisku. Tuisku ran a 1 minute 55 seconds .45. He's about a second slower than Caleb McKinney. A second slower on the quickest lap times now between first and second out there on the racetrack in these quick times out there on the speedway, and that is absolutely insane. Let's take a look here at the best times. This will show you in that scoreboard the best times for all these drivers and what they've ran, how quick they have been at any point in time in this race. It'll show you their best lap times, their best time around this speedway out there on the racetrack. You see a lot of drivers that haven't even broken into the 2 minute section. And here we go. We see the 76 ride into the 1 minute and 54 seconds. There's drivers that still haven't ran faster than 2 minutes out there on the speedway. So that is just telling you and showing you how good that the 76 ride has been here this evening. And you can see that gap here, a 155.4 compared to a 154.5 for Caleb McKinney in his fast time here over that number 6 machine out there on the speedway, and that's just showing you some great laps. And now here he is, already closed the gap here. He's onto the back bumper of Cameron Combs. Combs is trying to keep himself in front of that 76, knows that that could be the battle for the race win here. I do believe Cameron Combs will probably still have to make an additional pit stop here this evening. He may be able to save enough to be able to keep himself in this battle, but he's gonna have his hands full trying to keep the 76 ride back there at bay. And for Caleb McKinney, he just continues to find more and more speed out there on the racetrack, continues to run absolutely monstrous lap times here. And for that 76, I'm not sure if it's going to be much of a challenge to trying to get around Cameron here. They're trying to pass him here this evening, and now it's 10 seconds between these two and our race leader, Rob Tuisku. Tuisku out in front, continue to lead the way, but he's got 10 seconds between himself, and now there you go. The 76 of Caleb McKinney will get around the 15 of Cameron Combs as Combs gets up and into the grass right there. Unfortunately, you'll see McKinney get around him here, and quickly the 76 right onto the throttle, trying to hunt down and close this 10-second gap between himself and Tuisku. And Tuisku may still have to make an additional trip down pit road here this evening. If he does have to make another pit stop, then that could really mix things up here this evening, as we see the 31 ride of Adolfo Castillo. Adolfo coming back down pit road. Oh no, this could have been a major mistake here of the 31 ride. Maybe they didn't get enough fuel into this car. What happened here? We saw him make that additional pit stop already, but now comes back down pit road. Stops for not even a second right there and gets rolling again out on the racetrack. Not sure what that trip down pit road was for. Let's see if we can play this back even farther. Maybe it was just damage repair. Maybe he ended up with some damage here on this car. Doesn't look like there's really much damage. He's got no one around him. No one hit him in there or bumped him in there. So this is just another call to come down pit road. And I'm not sure. A little bit of a scrape there on that right front, but it doesn't really look like much damage. It looks like maybe a little bit of a fender bender, but nothing really major to worry about. I don't think that would be enough to affect the handling of this race car, but nonetheless, he heads down pit road into his pit stall, and it does look like it was repaired. So Looks like whatever damage that may have been must have been underneath the surface of that front right fender, and he's got it fixed up. He's rolling back out there onto the racetrack, and he's luckily enough able to hang on to that 6th position, but that keeps him even farther away from Al Reed. It's starting to close in on Al Reed as we do see Chris Muse still in front of that 3 machine as well. He's hoping that he can try to catch up, maybe work his way into a top 3 situation here this evening. Unfortunately, though, he's about 47 seconds back of Cameron Combs and about even farther away from Rob Tuisku here this evening as Caleb McKinney's actually starting to fall back here from that 6th ride. Rob Tuisku starting to open up the race lead here. He's starting to lay down some really fast lap times, so I'm not sure if he was trying to save fuel to get to the end. Maybe he saved enough. Maybe he's good to go to the checkered flag, or maybe he just realized that, hey, I am not going to be able to save enough. I have got to go if I can get onto the throttle now, start running some very, very fast lap times here, open up that race lead, and give myself the time that I can come down pit side, get a splash of gas and go, and then be able to duke it out here with Caleb McKinney. And now there's a big mistake right there. So he misses the chicane. He's going to have to slow down. He's going to have to get checked up. He's going to give up time penalty here for missing that front straightaway chicane, and that is going to chew into a ton of time here for him as we see Caleb McKinney. He is now into that chicane. He's going to be able to make his turns, hit his marks, able to keep that car rolling. Tuisku does get the green light. He's back at it here, and actually may have saved him some time right there. I'm not too sure. It's about 14 seconds still. Okay, it's about the same still between himself and Tuisku, so he did have to give up any time that he would have gained right there. Now we do see Cameron Combs having to come down pit road, so Cameron, he needed that fuel. I felt like he was going to be a little bit shy, and this is going to be telling of the tale for the 6th ride of Rob Tuisku, as Tuisku obviously came down pit road a lap before that 6th machine. He's going to be giving up a lot of time here, so the 15 does get right side tires as well, does get enough fuel. He's good to go to the end of this race. He gets rolling back out on the racetrack, so there's that 25 of Edward Belair. Unfortunately for Belair, he's stuck back at about the 17th position, about 6 laps down or so out there on the racetrack as Rob Tuisku out in front. If he does have to make another pit stop here in this race, if he does have to come down pit road, he's just got to hope that it's not going to take more than 14 seconds. But I think he's going to give up all that time just traveling down pit side, let alone the 2 seconds, 3 seconds that he may have to sit in his pit stall to get the fuel that he needs to get to the end of this race. So for that 6th ride, he's just got to try to continue to pull farther and farther away from Caleb McKinney. Hope that McKinney makes some mistakes here late in this race that could open up the door for him to get more of an advantage, build up more of a lead here, and give himself that cushion where that way he can come down pit road, maybe come out of the pits either in front of the 76 or right there with them, and then duke it out nose to nose here late in this race for the win. So we'll have to wait and see how this gets played out. Tuisku that time does make it through that chicane. Now here he comes down pit side. This will be the telling tale right here on the fuel, so he does have to come down pit road. He's got to get fuel into this car, but where does he come out compared to Caleb McKinney? McKinney is going through that front straightaway chicane. Looks like he's back onto the throttle for Tuisku. He's about to hit his pit stall. There he is. He's in his stall. The crew has got to put enough fuel into it to get to the end as the 76 is around him, already heading down into corner number 1. And for Tuisku, he's still down pit side. He's making a 4-tire pit stop. What in the world? This is going to be too much for the 6th ride, man. He's given up so much time. This may take him out of any opportunity to try to win this race. And for Caleb McKinney, if he doesn't have to come back down pit road, he's looking at a huge lead, a huge advantage. 6th ride still down pit side, finally gets released back onto the throttle. He's already lost 2nd to Cameron Combs as well, and that's going to move this 76 of Caleb McKinney out in front by about 25 seconds. If he's good on fuel, if he does not have to make another pit stop, he's just on cruise control here to the end of this race. He does not have to push. He does not have to make any big moves here. And for Caleb McKinney, he is just on cruise control here to try and put himself up and into victory lane here this evening. What a run, what a drive, what a performance here for Caleb McKinney as Cameron Combs will be stuck back back there. He is 24 seconds back of our race leader, Robert Tuisco. He's about 9 seconds behind Cameron Combs now after that extended pit stop. He's got 7 seconds between himself and the 99 rider, Chris Muse, who rolls there in that 4th position. And Muse starts to see this 3 right of Al Reed creeping up towards him here. Al getting closer and closer to that 99 right. I'm sure Al would love to jump up here, join his Elite Sim Racing teammates inside the top 4 here this evening. 3 of them right now inside the top 5. Still running very, very good together, man. They've been looking strong all night long, but no one better than Caleb McKinney here this evening. And I do believe for McKinney, he's been running and racing with the Dark Horse Motorsports team. So for the Dark Horse Motorsports rides, I'll see a top run here this evening for James Garland and Wayne Garland. Wayne stuck back in the 15th position for James Garland. Looks like he's going to finish back in 20th, only completed 10 laps of this race. So for them, their teammate Caleb McKinney out in front, leading the way for them. But for the Elite Sim Racing group, pretty strong here. They have all 4 drivers inside the top 10, with Kurt Sponsler in the 10th position. As now you see Al Reed get in there too far, ends up making contact with his teammate Kurt Sponsler, and Sponsler is a lap down now. Both Kurt and the 3 ride will both get holds here. They'll have to check up, they'll have to slow down, and unfortunately for Al Reed, that may blow any opportunity he was going to have to try to get around Chris Muse here late in this race, finding a big mistake out of the 99, and there it maybe gets up a little too far. Luckily enough, able to keep it rolling. Doesn't give up too much time right there for Al Reed. He's still about 2 seconds or so behind that 99 ride. So he'll look to continue to close that gap and try to reel in this 99 machine for Mr. Tuisco. He's going to look to try to close in the gap on the 15 of Cameron Combs. Unfortunately, he's 11 seconds back of Cameron. And for our race leader, Caleb McKinney, he is just sitting pretty out there on the speedway, man. He doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to stress too much. Last time around, he did run about a 10 seconds slower, 9 seconds slower than Cameron Combs, so he has given up quite a bit of time here through that 15 ride. I'm not sure if it's just his car starting to fall away and the tires starting to affect this car. Nonetheless, it has allowed Cameron Combs to really start to reel in that 76 ride, but really have enough time is nice and easy down through the Daytona International Speedway, corner number 3 and 4, back down onto the front stretch here. He'll hit that front straightaway chicane for the 76, just does not want to make a mistake, has to hit his marks, can't give anything up to these guys late in this race, and down across the line he will click off another lap, and that is lap 42 off the board. We only got 3 laps left to go here in this feature event. 3 laps left to duke it out here this evening. Who will find their way up and into victory lane? Who will get it done here in this one? Is Caleb McKinney has just looked unreal, unstoppable here throughout this feature event. For Cameron Combs, looked really strong early on, qualified on the pole, led the first lap, but once he gave up that race lead, Caleb was able to take it away from him. And then we saw the 15 ride running into a few mistakes, a few major mistakes out there that really hindered his performance and ability to potentially try and put himself into the winning position here in this feature event. Now he sits 11 seconds back of Caleb McKinney. McKinney still gives up time here to that 15 ride, but virtually right now he's just kind of on cruise control. He knows that even if he gives up 5 seconds a lap here, you know, he may still be ahead of this 15 ride, and for Cameron Combs, he may burn his stuff up trying to get there, where Caleb can just put that hammer down, pull away for the last lap, and or wait for a mistake out of the 15 ride, and there it is. Big mistake out of the 15 machine. He goes for a loop-de-loop. That pretty much seals the deal for Caleb McKinney right there. As long as he doesn't do the same thing, as long as he doesn't put himself into that same problem, he can just continue to be on cruise control here. Even if he was giving up 5 seconds, 10 seconds a lap, he's pretty much got it in the bag at this point, as he's got 18 seconds now between himself and Cameron Combs, and now only about 2 laps left to go here in this race. Is Holy Bible Racing. What's good, Holy Bible? Coming in showing the love. Says, what's poppin', Peacemaker? What's good, Holy Bible? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful evening here this afternoon as we'll see some great racing, some great battles out there on the speedway, some good road course action here in this one, and hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful, wonderful Sunday here as out in front, Caleb McKinney sees 2 laps left to go here in this race. Over 17 seconds between himself and the 15 of Cameron Combs, as Combs did make that mistake, did go for a little bit of a loop-de-loop. It does bring Rob Tuwiscu right into that battle, so Tuwiscu could potentially try to get around his teammate here, the 15 of Cameron Combs, late in this one. Al Reed rolls there in position number 4, so for the Elite Sim Racing team, they sit right now 2nd, 3rd, and 4th out there on the racetrack. We do see Adolfo Castillo. Adolfo has worked his way around Chris Muse. It looks like Muse may have lost connection here to the server, and that's a heartbreaker for the 99 ride of Chris Muse. Oh man, he was having such a good run. He was in that 4th position, but it looks like, I don't know if he's just lost connection. He's disappeared off the server here. And for Chris Muse, he continues to drop back. He has not moved an inch since 42.54 for laps here. So he hasn't moved in quite a little while. And for that 99 ride, what could have been a great run, a solid day here at the Speedway Forum, looks like he's going to fall back here quite a few positions, unless if he can try to get back out there, complete another half a lap or lap here to at least salvage as much as he can. But as of right now, he has fallen back at least into that 9th position, maybe even farther back to 10th. He is at risk of maybe going back to about the 15th position, maybe even 16th or 17th here this evening. So that is a tough break there for him as Caleb McKinney continues to hold on to the race lead. 15 seconds between himself and Cameron Combs as Combs trying to keep his teammate back there at bay, but now he's got to check up. He missed that back straightaway chicane on the exit right there for the 15 ride. He's got to take it easy. He's got to take it slow. And for Rob Tuwiscu, he will get around him. So Tuwiscu back up into 2nd. Cameron Combs there in 3rd, but it's all Caleb McKinney here this evening as he will take the white flag one more time around here for the 76 of Caleb McKinney. Is McKinney looking to just run away with this one? The 76 ride has been virtually perfect here all evening long, and he's got a 16-second gap between himself and our 2nd place driver, Rob Tuwiscu. So he could give up 15 seconds here, be on cruise control, use this as a victory lap pretty much out there on the speedway. Even if he gave up 15 seconds, he would still win this race by almost 2 seconds between himself and Tuwiscu. As Caleb McKinney just been perfect here this evening, hitting his marks, running very, very fast lap times. He's the only driver to run into the 1 minute and 54-second gap here this evening. Everyone else has been slower than a minute and 55 seconds. A lot of drivers haven't even broken into that 1:55 area. There's only been 3 drivers who have been under a minute and 56. There's only been a handful of drivers, 5 or 6 drivers that have ran into the 1 minute and 56-second bracket here this evening. So that just shows you, man, how fast these guys are, how talented they are up at the front of the field. We still have probably about 10 drivers or better that haven't even broke in under a 2-minute lap time out there on the racetrack, as the 76 of Caleb McKinney just nice and easy, hitting his marks, taking it nice and easy down the back straightaway, through that back straightaway chicane, and heads down into corner number 3 here at Daytona International Speedway, as the 76 of Caleb McKinney will round corner number 3, nice and easy down through corner number 4. He's got 1 chicane left to go. All he's got to do is hit his marks nice and easy down here through the front straightaway chicane, and it's all Caleb McKinney, as McKinney will head down through the triangle, and he will see the checker flag fly as McKinney picks up the win here at Daytona International Speedway. The Overton's Super 876 of Caleb McKinney will pick up the dub here this evening and instantly gets to celebrate his feature event, as there's Tuwiscu comes home in 2nd. Cameron Combs in 3rd. Will wait for Al Reed as he heads down through the chicane here on the front stretch. Al Reed will come home in position number 4 here today. So there's Reed, comes home in 4th, as Adolfo Castillo back there in that 5th position. Grant Humphrey back here in 6th. We'll see these guys finish off their races. Adolfo down and through the back straightaway chicane, just showing you the gap here between our top 4 to our 5th place driver out there. For Chris Muse, heartbreak there for Muse. Looks like he has gotten back into the race here. Unfortunately, he's fallen back into that 10th position, but for Adolfo Castillo, he's going to head down through corner number 4 into the front straightaway chicane here. And for that Quantum Motorsports 31 ride, what a recovery here for him after going around on the opening lap, virtually going from in 4th all the way outside the top 15 for the 31, battling back here, gaining a lot of positions, and comes home with a top 5 performance. Now we wait for the Must Love Poodles and number 48 ride of Grant Humphrey. Humphrey getting ready to finish off his race as the Must Love Poodles ride heads down through the front straightaway chicane. He'll head down and across the start finish line. Humphrey will come home in position number 6 here this evening. Solid run there for Grant Humphrey again this evening. Billy Jordan killing back the 49 of Kurt Sponsler will come home in 9th. Chris Muse will finish this race off in the 10th position, but it's all Caleb McKinney as McKinney gets the job done, finds himself up and in victory lane here at Daytona International Speedway. We'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth for their post-race interviews. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Caleb McKinney. Hey Caleb, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy? Caleb, man, what a run, what a race for you here tonight, man, as you were able to battle early on. We saw Cameron Combs, our pole sitter, lead that first lap. You were instantly, though, able to jump back in front of him. You take that race lead. You're trying to build up that lead. You're trying to run away from him there, and then all of a sudden, Cameron Combs runs into a big issue, goes around it, and it opens up the door for you to really open up a major lead here. And for pretty much most of this race, you had that lead. You had that advantage, even through some of the pit cycles and pit strategies there where we saw Cameron right with you, or Tawisku there as well. You never faltered, never hindered, really never made a mistake. We saw you once there during the crank it up, go for a loop-de-loop, coming back onto the corner 1 area, exiting the infield, and other than that, virtually a perfect night as you're able to cruise control the final 8 laps, 10 laps of this race and drive that 76 up and into victory lane, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind. Absolutely a great day, a great race for you as you park the 76 up here in victory lane. Obviously a big win, a lot of great points for you, man. How does it feel to know that you're able to get this win and earn some massive points here in the 5th race of the season? Absolutely locked in and ready to rock and roll, ready for the playoffs to begin. But obviously now you get the opportunity to try to earn more stage points and more wins potentially, and obviously able to gamble a little bit more on some of these other races here, as that's going to be interesting. As let me double check here real quick. We may have an audio issue. Can you talk real quick, Caleb? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let me check something here. Looks like audio source on Discord had gotten changed. Output device. Put input. Show this one. Try again there, Caleb. No, not that. Okay, alright. Input should be my voice. Output should be this one. Try again.
Well,
oh, there we go. I think that may have gotten it, brother. I think that may have gotten it. All right, well, Caleb, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you nonetheless, though, brother. Who would you like to thank here this evening for such a great, strong performance out there on the racetrack?
yeah, man, I'd like to shout out Dark Horse Motorsports for picking me up this season, and hopefully we have a good rest of the season. And I'd like to shout out you, Aaron, for doing these broadcasts. They're really fun to watch back. And I'd like to shout out all the admins at ORL Racing League and Anthony himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, the crew, all coming in here, making this possible and putting on another great season, some more great racing for us, and obviously a hell of a performance here tonight for you. So you park that Overton 76 up and into victory lane here this evening. Congratulations on the dump, Caleb. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Sunday and maybe right back up here in victory lane.
For sure, man. Take care.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Mr. Caleb McKinney as McKinney picks up the win here in this one, man. What a run, what a drive, what a performance there for that number 76 machine. As we'll get ready now to pull in our next driver, our next performer out there on the racetrack, our second place finisher, the 6 ride of Rob Tuiscu. Hey, Rob, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Hey, Aaron, how's it going, brother?
Not too bad, Rob, man. What a run, what a drive for you here in this one, as you're able to come home with a very solid second-place run here. Obviously, the Elite Sim Racing crew looked hooked up here this evening, but, man, it was all about trying to figure out a way to catch up and make a move around that 76 ride of Caleb McKinney, and unfortunately there, having to make those late race pit stops for you and Cameron. Al kind of just threw that out the window right there, and he was just on cruise control here to finish this one off. But take us back through it. What's going through your mind?
Oh, man, don't screw up. Yeah, Caleb, man, he ran a solid race. He was untouchable. I pride myself on road courses, and, I put in a lot of practice, and honestly, I ran better today than I did in any of my practices. But, that late race pit stop there, that just destroyed it. We talked about saving the entire race, and we thought, no way you can save enough to avoid that last pit stop, and, of course, we didn't. We went for it, and kind of hurt us in the end, but it didn't hurt it that bad,
Yeah, it didn't hurt you too bad. Obviously, we saw Cameron run into an issue there. He was pushing it, trying to reel in that number 76, and as he went around, it opened up the door for you to jump back around your teammate and finish this one off in a very solid second-place performance, man. Obviously, a long race, a lot of corners, a lot of right-hand turns and left-hand turns out there on the speedway, and you're able to keep the car in pretty much solid shape here. Probably one of only the few drivers here this evening to really not go around or run into any major issues out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think I caught 4 incident points, and that was, I rear-ended, I think it was the 22 car, and I just locked up on it, and nothing I could do, and I just bumped him a little bit, but it still gave me that 4X, and I was bummed about that because it would have been great to go 0X, 45 laps here.
Yeah, absolutely. Would have been great to see. Obviously, 4 is still a great number. Only having a 4X out there throughout this 45-lap run. Obviously, pretty much anytime you really go off the racetrack, you get an X or 2. So, just shows how clean and how good this 6 ride was here this evening. But early on, it looked like a lot of fun. Obviously, we saw you battling hard there with Al Reed. You throw the 99 rider Chris Muse right into that mix as you guys were duking it out. You were tight together there for a little while before the green flag pit stop started to kind of get underway, and then after that first wave of green flag pit stops, seemed like you were able to take advantage of it, jump out into that second spot, and then just build a pretty sizable lead between yourself and Reed, Combs, and that 99 of Chris Muse, where you were just focused there on that 76.
That's it, man. You get in the groove, and it becomes muscle memory, and you're hitting all your points right, all your braking points, and you're throttling at just the right time, and you're almost in a tunnel, and all you see is the road ahead of you and what you got to do, and it's wild, but man, was it fun.
Yeah, it looked like a ton of fun out there. A lot of great action, great racing, and man, we can't wait to see what you guys got in store for us again next Sunday. But man, heck of a performance for you, Rob, here tonight, coming home in second at Daytona. Man, who'd you like to thank for a great performance out there on the Speedway?
First off, I got to thank Outcast Racing League. Gosh, these guys are great, man. I love them. I love coming back every week. My team, ESR, Cameron, Kurt, Al. A lot of people don't realize, but Al's always been faster than me. So for me to walk away from him today, it's huge for me. So that was really fun. I got to thank Land N Sea and obviously you for the broadcast, man. That's great. I watched last week's, and man, dude, it was intense. Loved it.
Yeah, some great racing, some great action out there, man, and teamwork makes the dream work here as you guys come home 2, 3, and 4, and then we saw Kurt back there in that 9th position, man. It was a solid run, solid performance for yourself and the team this evening, and we can't wait to see you guys back in action next Sunday. Rob, congrats on that second place run, brother, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Thanks, Aaron. Looking forward to next week.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, that number 6 ride of Rob, the Hitman Tuwiscu, as he comes home in position number 2 here this evening. We'll get ready now to pull in our third place driver here. It's Chad 2.0. It is Cameron Combs who comes home in position number 3. Let's get Cameron up here into the booth. Hey, Cameron, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Cameron, man, another solid run, another great race here for you tonight in this one, man. We thought right at the get-go that it was going to be a battle between you and that number 76, Akil McKinney, for the race win, and obviously early on it looked like it was going to be that way. You were able to lead the first lap. He got around you. He started to open up a couple-second lead, and then you make a big mistake out there, and it slides you from second all the way back into 5th, and then from that point on, you're just trying to battle back, trying to use the strategy and speed and everything else to get back into it. We saw you run into a slew of other issues there a couple times when you got to the back bumper of Chris Muse and Al Reed. We saw you go around a couple times there. We saw you go around late in this race as you were trying to reel in that 76 ride, and obviously all those just compounding to a lot of issues for you, but you're able to hang on and still come home with a third place run, which is pretty incredible compared to the amount of time you probably gave up out there on the racetrack with these issues.
Yeah, it kind of sucks not having a better finish. I mean, we definitely finished pretty solid for as many mistakes as I made, but yeah, the first run I gave it to Caleb because I messed up coming on to NASCAR 2 and 3 or 1 and 2, and I was like, oh, I'll just get him back, and then going into that chicane I made a mistake, almost took me and him both out, and after that I just kept making mistakes trying to catch back up, and overall it really hurt my race. I feel like I could have definitely been right there with him towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like you had the speed, you had the pace here. Unfortunately, just never really got the opportunity to duke it out here with Caleb, especially late in this one. But man, what a performance, what a drive, not only by yourself, but your teammates as well. As we see, obviously, Tuwiscu right there in front of you, Al Reed right behind you. Your 4th teammate there, Mr. Sponsler, back in 9th as well. Pretty solid evening here for the Elite Sim Racing team.
Yeah, we definitely tried helping each other out. We didn't really get a chance to do like an organized team practice, but we were all sharing our setups and trying to help each other out with pointers throughout the week. So yeah, it was definitely a solid run for the ESR guys.
Yeah, very solid run, very good performances here, lap after lap, continue to duke it out there on the speedway. And for yourself, Cameron, you come home here as, our 2-time Outcast Racing League regular season champion. You come in and come home with a 3rd place run, a solid points day here for you. How does the, how do the points look for you now, potentially after tonight? I know we're only 5 races in, but, that regular season championship just around the corner.
Yeah, I've had a lot of rough races this season, so having a solid points day is definitely going to help out a little bit, but after last week in Talladega, it's definitely nice to get a solid points day in.
Absolutely, a very solid points day and a very solid run for you, Cameron. Who would you like to thank here tonight for such a great performance out there on the racetrack?
I just got to thank all the admins. I got to thank you for the broadcast. love your broadcast. I go back and watch them every day or every Monday and go back through and see what I could have did better. I got to thank Land N Sea for sponsoring the race. Chad over there, he does a lot for the league. Just thank everybody that makes this happen.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Cameron, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening at Daytona, man. And we can't wait to see you back in action and see if you and the Elite Sim Racing crew can try to join us again next Sunday back up here in the booth. Maybe a couple of spots better for yourself and back up and into victory lane.
Hopefully.
We look forward to it, Cameron. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Cameron Combs as he comes home in position number 3 here this evening. Solid run, solid drive, and a great performance there for that 15 machine. Unfortunately, though, that will do it for us here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the racing action here tonight, man. Hopefully, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, it was some great battles out there, and hopefully, the stream looked really, really good, really crisp for you guys, man. I'm hoping that being able to up that bit rate, being able to produce some really, really good high-quality broadcasts here for you guys makes it that much better, that much nicer, and that way you guys can all enjoy some absolutely amazing, amazing streams and have some amazing quality where you guys can really enjoy and get to experience some of the great action here on Peacemaker Gaming a little bit better as we've been throttled back between not YouTube, but through Facebook and Twitch, not being able to run as high of a bit rate that we could, and now obviously we're just kind of doing a couple testers here, trying to figure out if YouTube only works really good, if that's rolling nicely, and that's where a lot of our fans tend to want to watch and want to tune in, then that's where we're going to try to keep it there. We may, see what Twitch has, if we can stream to a higher level over on Twitch or Kick as well, potentially, then maybe we'll go over there as well and continue to keep on multi-streaming. But until we kind of figure that all out, make sure everything works good, we'll just maybe start staying here as YouTube only and try to build up our presence here on YouTube even more, try to bring all of our followers from Twitch and YouTube, or Twitch and Facebook over here as well. But listen, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, can't thank you guys enough for showing the love here this evening, as some great racing, some great action here this evening, and we can't wait to see you guys back here in the stream in just a little, probably about 2 hours from now. We'll be back live. We got the Wheel to Wheel Racing League coming up next, so hopefully we see you guys there. Hopefully you guys get to enjoy some amazing racing action here later this evening. But thank you all for watching, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Radio check, check, 1, 2, radio check. Over still. On the back to the corner, lane up through the triangle. Not sure why we did that, I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody get to the bottom. Maybe we should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down. He's got it right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Commercial line, it's Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland and Team Garland leading the way, show these drivers how to get it done as the Mexico.
Engines roar, louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens, captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens, captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends, never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray. Louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.